for this next video blog. Call it a vlog if you want, I don't care. But it's about playing mind games. And let me start by saying we all do it. We all play mind games. We started in school or at some early time in our life. You know, the mind games about will they like me? They'll never talk to me. Will she go to the prom with me? You fill in the blanks, right? So let's talk about mind games, self talk, self delusion. I got to tell you, it's one of the greatest inventions in human history, right up there with the wheel, the steam engine, and the remote control. I don't mean damaging self delusion, and I certainly, too much, right, can lead to disaster. I'm talking about constructive, healthy self delusion, which is absolutely crucial in building a business. As an entrepreneur, I rely on self delusion as much as I rely on my laptop, Wi Fi access, excessive working hours. Nowadays, each project is the equivalent of a startup company. I have to figure out my customer, my unique approach, my budget, the marketing strategy to get it done. And as with every startup founder, I spent some mornings during my last project battling pessimism and despair. Well, actually, probably most mornings battling them. I felt the project was too big, too unwieldy. I was working on finding a way of doing something that my company had never been able to do before. I'd never finished the job. It never could possibly work. My delusion? Deception. Self deception. I tricked my brain. I'd force myself to act in an optimistic way. I'd call companies out of the blue. I'd contact people who never would remember me or even be a friend. And I'd say yes to doing something before I really knew what I needed to do. And after a couple of hours, it worked. My mind would catch up with my actions. I would start to actually feel optimistic. It's astounding how much the outer can affect the inner, how much behavior can affect your thoughts. Millard Fuller, the founder of Habitat for Humanity, summed it up gorgeously. He said this: it's easier to act your way into a new way of thinking than to think your way into a new way of acting. Now, this is not pseudo-scientific blather spouted bunkum-filled books like The Secret or something else. The idea that your actions alter your thoughts is one of the foundations of cognitive behavioral psychology, and it has been studied since the 19th century. Both William James and Charles Darwin wrote about it. Force your face into a smile. You will be happier. Now, I know that sounds creepy, but it works. A raft of studies have backed this up, including a recent one by the Journal of Psychological Science that showed fake smiles or even holding a chopstick in your mouth to mimic the shape of a smile lowered your heart rate in stressful situations. The book, The As If Principle by psychologist Richard Wiseman, cites plenty of other research, including how your posture affects confidence and risk taking. A powerful chest out stance boosts esteem. The idea has spawned rhymes, hasn't it? Fake it till you make it. Or in the Jewish tradition, deed before creed. Meaning that if you follow the Ten Commandments, your mind will catch up. The Bible also says, though, that you can't gossip, that you need to forgive, you can't lie, don't covet. I grew up in New York City, so that was pretty much 80-90% of my day. So I was faced with a huge question. How do you become a better person? How do you undertake an ethical makeover? And that's when I tried this self-delusion. For instance, I had a guy I was really mad at. I mean really mad at. I saw him as the main reason I had actually was forced to leave a particular town that I lived in. I decided, though, that a nice person would be nice to this person. And I tricked myself into being nice and showed him grace. Well, guess what happened? I started liking this guy. I started writing him and connecting with him. I started to care about his family and to make sure that they were happy. I started getting better. Now, was that me doing it? Was that God? I don't know. But I can tell you As the great, great philosopher John Cleese said in Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail, I got better. I was blown away by this strategy. It changed me profoundly. Of course, I still covet and I don't forgive and I lie and gossip and but maybe I do it less. Maybe 50%. Well, no, maybe 40. Maybe more like 30, 35, 30. But there's one big caveat. Don't get too carried away with the self-delusion. You need a mix of self-delusion and realism. The best companies in the world, right, have a blend of irrationally exuberant leaders balanced by the hand wringers, right? I try to find this blend in myself. It, in the morning, I'm that brain stretching optimist. In the afternoons, I go more for, I got to make this work, worry. And so now I'm going to go back to my project. Of course, I'm acting as if this is a huge, massive, change the world success. And by the way, thanks, AJ, for reminding me about this.